Inside the plant, I'm standing right by the control panel, which was built by Westinghouse probably in the 1920s, and an operator would set the controls when the power was being generated by the plant. What was so unique about this plant was that it was really the first power plant in this entire region of Western Carolina. And the founding folks of Highlands at the time thought that if they could only get electric power here, it would attract tourists and people to come here and stay for longer periods of time. So around 1929 or 1930, the first electric power was generated from this plant. It was about 1 megawatt, which was adequate at the time because Highlands was a very small town. But today we use anywhere on a given day, depending on how many people are here, anywhere from 10 to 15 megawatts, and that number is growing by the year. So this was a great idea back in the 1930s, but now it's unfortunately in shambles because it hasn't been used for almost 40 something years now. I'm standing here by the Westinghouse generator that was used to produce the power for the town of Highlands. I suspect this was the wheel which the turbine, which was located below this level of the power plant, would turn, and then the windings in the generator actually produced electricity that then went to the control panel and was sent back up to Highlands. This has not been active for many years. As you can see, it's obsolete and really couldn't be used at this time. One of the things that happened in 1965 was that the turbine, which is located underneath this floor, which actually had the water propelling the blades, it was sold to another power generating company in 1965. And it's my understanding that they literally had to pull the turbine out and use it. I'm standing here by the Westinghouse generator that was used to produce the power for the town of Highlands. I suspect this was the wheel which the turbine, which was located below this level of the power plant, would turn, and then the windings in the generator actually produced electricity that then went to the control panel and was sent back up to Highlands. This has not been active for many years. As you can see, it's obsolete and really couldn't be used at this time. One of the things that happened in 1965 was that the turbine, which is located underneath this floor, which actually had the water propelling the blades, it was sold to another power generating company in 1965. And it's my understanding that they literally had to pull the turbine out and use a wrecker to winch it up the hill to put it on a truck and deliver it to its new home. I've heard it still operates, by the way. But this was a very complex system. But the problem was that as Highlands grew, the demand for power increased to where that 1 megawatt couldn't support the needs of the town. So the town board decided back actually in the early 50s after the Second World War to start buying power from Nantahala Power Company, which was a hydro plant over on the Nantahala River. They could actually buy the power from Nantahala as cheap as operating this system. So it fell into disrepair, and the FERC license, that is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, suspended the license after it came to its end and the town decided not to renew it back around 1995. So if we were to try to revive this power plant, we would have to go through an arduous process of getting the federal government to renew our license to generate electricity. That's just one of the problems that we would have. The other problem would be the environmental impact on this beautiful national forest land. The reason this was built was because there was a special use permit granted to the town of Highlands back around 1927 or 28 to build this structure and to operate the power plant. What happened was we stopped generating power here back in the 60s, and the special use permit stated that if you stopped using this building for power generation for 18 months, you lost the special use permit. Therefore, we no longer have any control or access to this facility. It is the property of the U.S. federal government and under the control of the U.S. Forest Service. One of our former rangers, Mike Wilkins, and I visited here years ago, and he informed me about the status of the special use permit and said that he believed it would almost be impossible at this point to try to resume power generation at this site. This is where the Hydroelectric project began in 1929. The first challenge was to build this dam, which created Lake Sequoia. After they built the dam, they connected this brown pipe that you see here, and it had a valve on it, where they could open the valve and direct the water from the lake all the way down a quarter of a mile to the hydroelectric plant. There, that surge of water would turn the turbine, create the electrical current on the generator, and then the electricity would be brought back to the town of Highlands. It was a marvel for 1929. But today I would ask this question: would it be cost effective to generate a new system that would cost millions of dollars? Would it have a bad impact or a negative impact on our beautiful environment? These are the questions that would have to be asked. I love fishing here on Lake Sequoia. This is a beautiful lake. This is a wonderful mountain environment. The question that I have is it worth jeopardizing what we have now to resume hydroelectric power generation? It could potentially alter this beautiful mountain environment. I'm committed to preserving the environment while at the same time advancing and having progress in the town of Highlands.